Hey guys, we're going to be looking at what I'm referring to as the Dark Knight Wave 2. These things were all announced around the same time, which is why I'm calling that, but they are not officially being called that. So we're going to take a look at each figure, we're going to take a look at how it compares to the first wave, and then we're going to talk about what we'll probably see in a very likely third wave release later on, probably next year. So stick around and we're going to get right into it. Here are the first three figures, nothing special on the front side. Here's the back side. This one is clearly a promo photo, if not one taken directly from the movie. I think that one's probably a similar situation. And this one's kind of weird because it's just the mask, but okay, whatever. And then here's our fourth Joker so far in the Dark Knight series of figures that McFarlane has released. Here's the backside, which is very, very famous promo artwork from the film when they were originally promoting it. So here we have our four figures, and of course Batman. You can't have a Batman villain video without Batman, right? But we're going to take a look at these three first. The first thing to note that's really interesting is that these two, as normal with McFarlane figures, come with both a card as well as their foot stand. Now this one comes with no card and no foot stand and no other accessories either. So that's really surprising considering that the packaging is exactly just kind of the normal packaging that we're used to. But I guess they're trying to make up for it by giving us this coat, but we'll get to that in a second. So our bank robber Joker is basically the same thing as our original Joker. And with that in mind, here is our original Joker. So you can see starting at the feet that it's literally the same exact mold. So starting with the shoes, shins, really legs, all the way up to here is the same exact thing. I think even the coat arms are the same. Obviously the coat is a little bit different. As far as the coat itself goes, it's okay. I don't really like this kind where like it's all one piece like that. I definitely prefer the Marvel Legends style where like the coat wraps around and you could take it off. Even though you're not supposed to take it off in the Legends ones, it at least gives a better look than, to me at least, than what this looks like. Now if you did want to remove it, there's nothing under there to like make it look okay, so you would have to do something else in order to cover it. Now, as far as the appearance, this looks really good and looks pretty much like how we see it in the film. And let's go ahead and do a close-up of the face of the mask. And it's cool that it definitely looks like a mask, right? In the sense that like the eyes are in there and they're painted. It really looks like the mask could pop right off. Even though it can't, it looks like it can. The hair on the back looks really good too. And the hair compared to the back of our regular Joker head. And this Joker head is one of the accessories that our bank robber Joker comes with. And here's how he compares to the original. And it's literally the same exact head. The only slight difference, if it's an actual difference, is that the paint on our bank robber head is a little bit lighter. Now, I don't know if that's an intentional decision or if that's just, you know, like a factory defect or something like that. And besides our head, the bank robber Joker comes with a couple of alternate hands. So we've got a fist for the left hand, and then we've got a trigger finger for the right hand, even though he doesn't actually come with a gun. And his existing hands are just gripping hands. I kind of wish he would have come with like a bag, like a duffel bag, as if, you know, he stole the money, but that's not what we have with this guy. Next up is our Sonar Vision Joker. And this one, clearly you can see that it's the exact same mold as our original Joker. From top to bottom, we're looking at the same exact figure. And the obvious difference being that we have this much more translucent kind of blue, almost like Iceman in the Legends line. And so you can even see like some of the joints in there. You can see the joints in here, stuff like that, which is neat, I guess. But then like some of the joints, like because it's solid colored, because the plastic has to be different for the joints, then it's also a little bit jarring too. I mean, it's not the end of the world since like it's, you know, supposed to be this Sonar Vision anyway, but he looks more like he's kind of frozen. It's an okay figure. Honestly, it's just an easy reuse of the Joker, so I can't blame McFarlane for it, but I'm not really a big fan of it either. And honestly, the only reason why I got it is because it was the only way to get the other two at the same time for me. And again, he comes with no additional accessories. And now our Bane figure. So it's funny because in my original review video where I reviewed the first wave of Dark Knight Trilogy figures, I did say that, you know, we could probably see this version of Bane, right? With the coat on and otherwise looks pretty much the same. And so it's cool that we have that. So as you can see, he looks pretty much exactly the same. Even the same color scheme. It's definitely the same mold. The one difference though is that the boots are very different. On our new Bane, the boots are very glossy, but on our original Bane, it's actually more dirtied. And I think our original Bane boots look a lot better. The knee pads are also a little bit different, but a lot more minor, I would say, than the boots. Otherwise, everything else looks pretty much the same. Now, like I said, this one doesn't come with any accessories, and it is a bummer, but you should be able to swap out the hands with the original Bane if you wanted to do that. Now, obviously, the big draw of this Bane is the coat, and honestly, the coat is really, really nice. Let's go ahead and take him off. And here is our coat. It's actually like this white soft part is definitely really, really soft. It's very plush. And our fake leather feels really good, to be totally honest. I'm really surprised by the quality of this. Clearly, McFarlane put you know, time and money into giving us a nice piece right here, so I'm not really that upset that we didn't get any additional hands. But this also means that he can do this kind of stuff, so I really hope this means that in the future we'll get better capes for our caped figures. What's interesting for me is that the flap on both sides does stay open on its own. I don't know if that's a way that they designed it or stitched it, or if it's like they laid it flat and then ironed it down to stay open like that, but it's staying open, which is cool. And here's another quick shot of the two Banes side by side. On my left side is the original, and on the right side is our fur coat Bane. Now with these three figures, what we want to know is if we're going to get more of them. So with Bane, those are really the two main appearances that we see him in. However, we also have him in the very beginning of the movie where he has this like black jumpsuit that's like a windbreaker or whatever, because he's also like parachuting out. But I don't think that's nearly as iconic as the two appearances that we have as him so far. But I wouldn't put it past McFarlane to do that anyway. Now with Joker, he is a very, very popular character, so I won't be surprised if we get another version of him, but as you'll see in a second, those are really kind of the two main appearances that we have for the Joker, other than, of course, the bank robber. Now, we could get a few more bank robbers because the others had, you know, different outfits as well as different masks, and I think that might be really interesting for collectors out there to recreate some of the scenes, but who's to say? But again, this is the Joker himself, so that might be the real reason why we're getting this one, and we may not get any other of the bank robbers from the beginning of the movie. And now for our interrogation scene Joker. So real quick, I just want to show his card, right? And he also comes with a bunch of alternate hands. So his hands right there are fists. And then he's got a couple of trigger hands. He's got these flat hands. And then he's got these like semi-pointing hands. And what's real crazy about these hands is that they're not like perfectly clean. Like they look dirty. And I'm pretty sure that's by design. I don't think that these are dirty because of factory defects or anything like that. I think that's really cool. I like that. He also comes with a little cell phone so that he can make the little bomb inside the guy's stomach explode. And as far as our figure itself, the nice thing is that the box insert also acts as a diorama. So that's really cool if you wanted to do that. We have our table and our two chairs, of course, and of course our Joker. So as far as our Joker goes, you can see that he's got a pair of handcuffs on him. These aren't articulated handcuffs in any kind of way. And the chains are gigantic, which is kind of hilarious to me. It's kind of like some of the bow staffs that he has, like for Robin, that are just super big and way too disproportionate for what they should actually be. But this is what we get. And otherwise, what we're seeing is pretty much the same exact mold as our original Joker, with the obvious exception being the lack of coat. So here is our original Joker versus our Interrogation Joker. And you can see from the bottom that they are using the same mold, obviously, but our shoes are a little bit of a different color. And what's nice on the Interrogation Joker is that the knee purple is a better match for the leg purple compared to our original. The original one, the purple on the knees is definitely really easy to see how different it is, but that's harder to tell on the newer one. And then we are losing the coat entirely, and we now actually get our green vest on its own. Over on our original Joker, you could potentially kind of rip that off, but then he doesn't have a backing, so then you'd be stuck trying to figure out how to keep the vest on him. But on our Interrogation Joker, he is fully clothed. And doing a close-up of the face, obviously, again, we're looking at the same exact mold, with the major difference being the paint application. And so by this point in the movie, his paint is kind of running a whole lot. The black around his eyes has gone kind of everywhere. And I think they did a pretty good job replicating that. I also really appreciate the level of detail that they put into replicating the texture of his dress shirt. That's really impressive. Good attention to detail on that one. Now, I'm pretty sure this is the last version of the Joker that we can get from the Dark Knight Trilogy line, but let me know in the comments below if there's another costume that we see him in that we could potentially get a figure out of. Otherwise, we still have plenty of figures left that we can get. We still can get a Catwoman, we still can get a Jim Gordon, we can still get Ra's al Ghul, we can get Talia al Ghul, of course. And very clearly, we still need the Batman Begins costume for Batman as well. So I won't be surprised if we get another wave of figures. And if you haven't yet seen my first video where I reviewed the first 4 figures, then check that out over here.